It's time for the Jim and Terry Show.
Well, I thought you might quote me a lyric from a song from your latest album and say, Terry, you know you're going to hell. And I thought that would be a nice way to wrap up that previous podcast. But you can say it as well here. And it is on your CD, is that right?
Yeah, Tares in the Wheat, yeah.
The Tares in the Wheat. It's not called Go to Hell, although that was your preference. And I still
That
say,
was my
should have
title.
gone with your gut.
Yeah, I should have gone with my gut. What the heck? Who's listening to it anyways, right? So,
Well, obviously, some people must be, because you're getting a lot of people shorts in a knot. You're getting some guy trying to disembowel himself and stab the table with garden shears. Man, you have a way of piercing.
I guess I do.
All right, I'm going to open this up with something. Have you heard? Have
Okay.
you heard? Have you gone to Walmart or any store that uses self-checkout?
Yes.
If you have the choice, do you prefer self-checkout or go through the queue?
It depends how little I've got and how little help I'm going to need. So, I mean, if everything's got a barcode, you can go through the self-check. It's pretty easy to do. And if you're using a credit card, et cetera, I know you can use money and stuff. If it's going to be complicated, I'll go through the lineup and go through the checkout.
Okay.
Why are you talking about the difference in pricing sometimes?
Well, it comes to me as a unionist, someone who advocates for labor, that perhaps, we're doing corporations, we, the people, John Q. Public, you and I, the Jim and Terry Show, are aiding and abetting a crime.
I wouldn't call it a crime. I mean,
I'm using
somebody has
hyperbole just to paint the contrast.
Yeah, somebody has to make those machines, so I guess people are getting paid. But I do see your point. That you got 20 machines there, where there could be 20 people instead of just the 2 people making sure you're not in trouble. That kind of thing. I can see your argument in that. Yeah, I can also see the argument. We got to get people out of the store. Everybody and his brother's shopping here, and it's too cumbersome.
Okay, so the self-checkout is because of volume. Is that what?
I think that's part of it. I mean, when they first did self-checkout, I thought it was interesting that 2 people got the exact same products. One went through the normal checkout, and one went through self-checkout and found that self-checkout actually paid more to do it yourself. That was like, remember gas stations went self-serve?
Yes.
And they upped the price and everything. So you actually paid more to do it yourself, which is bizarro, but that's what happened. But your gas stations might have been one of the first to chop the need for people, because you used to get gas, someone came out and cleaned your window and everything else and pumped your gas for you.
Isn't that interesting? Because that's sort of where I'm going with all this stuff. It's the notion that, and I'm trying to find it here. I thought I had it. It's the notion that the do-it-yourself economy, which is bagging your own groceries, checking your own luggage even. How about cleaning your own hotel room? Between self-checkout lanes and online appointment bookings now, you can book with your doctor online sometimes. You can book healthcare appointments. The trend was already underway before this happened, but the pandemic, that's the event, seems to be a turning point. Would you agree with that?
Well,
Has the pandemic made self-checkout and remote everything possible?
well, I could see that it would promote it, because people don't want contact with anybody else, and you got minimum contact if you're doing it yourself. Someone's not handling your stuff. It's a little bit futile, I think, because people are stocking the shelves and people are picking up products and putting them back down. And this drove my neighbor Al crazy. He'd be in the store and people are picking up an orange and putting it back down and picking up a product and putting it back down. Drove him around the bend, seeing that kind of thing. But that's going on. There's nothing you can do about it, really.
Did you wipe down your groceries at any point during the pandemic in the early days, 2020, 2021?
No, but I always rinse, like fruit or vegetables. I
Yeah.
usually rinse, you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, I didn't do any really super extra cleansing. I mean, at first I washed my hands a lot and stuff. Now I just do that normally as I back in the way it was.
So you have adjusted some of the new strategies that were introduced by the pandemic
I
to your
did.
own daily routines.
I did, but now I've gone back. I think
Okay.
I'm just normal, the way I normally did. Like there was no masks in Mexico, none.
Which explains why the Jim and Terry show is Skyping at this point, just
Yes.
out of the abundance of caution. And we
Yeah,
will
and
resume in person next week if that's
Yeah.
okay. But here we
Yeah.
go. We got a transition time. Why? Because in Canada, we're still masking.
Yeah, and there was no masking there. There wasn't at airports. I can't even. I don't think I saw masks at Pearson either. So eventually, what happens is I don't know if it's just the herd immunity type thing coming up, but it looks like people just had enough. You know, that's me. It wasn't conscious. I took 2 masks with me. I didn't consciously say I'm not going to wear a mask. I just didn't. You know, I just going with the flow with the crowd. If everybody had masks on, I would have put one on, I guess.
Well, here's one of the ironies for me attending that University of Waterloo conference and wards in a rather low-ceilinged room and with no additional ventilation that I could see, no portable HEPA filters or anything to filter out
Yeah.
COVID-sized particles. I was one of the few with a mask, and I get it. There were a lot of photo ops and flashes, and so I guess you got to keep it off, and it's easier just not to have it around your ears when you do the photo op. But I became conscious that I am the minority. Not the minority. I was the few, the handful, the less than one handful in a room full of maybe 100 people in close quarters.
Yeah, and that's what it has become. I know, like, if I go shopping with Christina or anything with Christina or the movie or anything, she puts her mask on. And
But she's religious that way.
yes, she is. Yes, yes.
The double entendre, my friend. She's more religious than you in certain practices, for
In certain
sure.
practices, yes, she is. But
It's good for you,
me,
Christina.
I don't think about it all that much. I haven't even seen her. This will be 4 weeks, so hopefully she's still speaking to me.
Well, hopefully you've got a date in store or one planned or some form of reconnection. I'm moving on from self-checkout because that's really an economic question, and it's a question of labor. And that becomes tying into, if we're making this our final podcast for this morning, link it into the healthcare and Trudeau meeting with the premiers.
Again, I missed all news. So
You didn't know that Trudeau was meeting?
I don't know about it. No, I don't know about it.
Well, there's going to be a sizable infusion of capital to the provinces. And the scuttlebutt or the sentiment that I'm getting is you have a lot of Conservative premiers who use federally transferred money and do not put it in healthcare investment. And that is the rub of the day. That's the have you heard, Jim? This is the latest.
I don't know. Where are they putting it?
Roads, infrastructure, anything but healthcare.
You need that crap too, you know.
You do, but should you rob from Peter to pay Paul, to use that adage?
Well,
Should you take something that's labeled healthcare transfer and use it for bridges and roads?
No. I think if it's labeled for that, if that's what it is, labeled, I guess, is one thing. Is there a condition on that money?
Well, I would like to see a condition, and that's what I'm hoping comes out of this latest round. Here's the money, guys. You've all screamed and complained that you're short. Here's the money.
The
Conditions are you will build one more hospital, you will hire 100 more nurses, you will open your surgeries now 12 hours a day instead of 3 hours a day. You know, I don't know what it takes, but I would like to see conditions on the money. Does that make me a conservative?
That's Trudeau. Then you got to talk to about that. His government's got to say this can only go to here, and we want accountability. I don't know if that's legal. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know the realm, all the
Yeah.
routes of being able to do that.
Well, healthcare is in the realm of the provinces. So that's where that's where we get in the question of, is it right to do that? Legal might not be the right phrase, but is it constitutional would be the question.
I'm not sure. I do know that I wouldn't want the job of any of it. That's why I'm not in politics.
I keep telling you I would vote for you, my friend, because I think the moral compass matters more than we can surround ourselves with wise advisors.
Yeah.
We don't have to be wise
That's
ourselves.
always good. Wise advisors. Sounds like a beer. No.
The wiserhood.
Yeah. But I know there's all these things need to be, people want to be moved, but where do you want to put the highway? Not in my backyard. All those conditions are tough decisions to make. And I'm glad
that's for your provincial politicians. The tougher decisions to me is when you know that whatever billions of dollars, well, in the case of Ontario, I think it was some hundreds of millions were transferred, especially for healthcare, and Ford has not done anything with the money.
Yeah, as I said, this is the first I've heard about it.
Yeah.
So now I have heard, and I don't.
And that's the whole purpose
of
of
what he says about such things.
Well, it's time to do a little checking and find Doug Ford on record and see what he says and doesn't say. That's the Have You Heard for this week.
Cool. No, and I hadn't heard.
Well, welcome back to the land of the living and political intrigue and what is right, what is wrong, what is left, what is right, what is evil, what is good, what is evil is probably going to be perceived as dwelling on the left. What is good is probably going to be perceived as drawing from the right. I'm not sure about any of this stuff. I remain unconvinced about most of this stuff. But I will say, vote, because that's the way your voice is expressed. That's the way you get accountability. Vote. If you didn't vote, you got Doug Ford by default. If you didn't vote, you got Trudeau by default. So don't complain. If you didn't vote, get out and vote. And if it could be a fair vote, I would like that too. Fairvotecanada.ca. Check it out and find out ways to change the first past the post so we get more people's voices heard in the representatives we send to Ottawa.
There you go. That was an ad brought to you by
The Jim and Terry Show, your daily dose of vitamins J and T.
Yeah. That's
Nice to have 2 vitamins in the package today instead of 1. So I thank you for your contributions. I give you the gears every once in a while, my friend, just to hold your feet to the fires and make you give account for that which you espouse. But you can do the same to me. That's all fair. All right. That's it. I will give you the final word. Welcome back from Mexico. Give it to us.
I haven't got a word. All of this, good to be back. And, it's the cold wasn't as bad as I thought. And
from plus 30 to minus 28, I cannot imagine the shock to you as you stood outside.
Yeah, well, in a jean jacket, yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, you're a survivor because you're here talking to me this morning. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, Terry. You guys.
All right, that's it for this week. Yes, you have a good week too. And in-person podcasting, all being well, next week.
God willing.
All right. Had to get that one in, didn't you? All right, I will accept it. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.